I asked 166 agents, how much do you make per month selling life insurance? And what do you think they said? How much does the average agent make? 3 grand, 12 grand, 15 grand? What do you guys think? 30 grand? Okay, cool. Anybody else? 20? Okay. Anybody else? 10 grand. Okay, cool. The data shows after these agents worked countless hours, bought thousands of dollars in leads, and sold dozens of policies, the average agent only made $5,071.89. Now, with over 40% of them making nothing at all or even worse, and probably even losing money. So who came here to make some money today? Everyone? Okay, cool. So our goal for this presentation is to make sure that your flights, your hotel expense, your gas are completely paid for after hearing this presentation. So who are we? My first month, who am I? I'm a co-founder here at Legacy Family Life. My first month in the business, I issue paid $294,000 in final expense premiums. This is an issue paid report. My best month ever, I sold $87,000 and $362 in final expense, my fourth month in the business. And my first year, I sold over $500,000 in final expense, just all over the phone. And actually, bottom line, net profit my first year, real numbers, so we're talking about being real and honest here, I made $176,787 my first year as a life insurance agent. Along the way, I've been documenting my journey on YouTube, grown a following, more than 42,000 subscribers. And then I met this guy who was way smarter than me, and we started an agency together. Micah, that's you.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? I am this guy. Can I take that clicker real quick? Sweet. My name's Micah Metcalf. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Legacy Family Life. Over my career, I have sold over $450,000 of life insurance. Not a ton, I know, compared to some of you. But I've managed almost $1 million in advertising, generated over 75,000 leads, and personally built all of our customer experience workflows and journeys. As a result, over the past 17 months, we have helped over 5,000 clients, received over 1.1 thousand five-star reviews, and grown to over 500,000 AP per month in sales. Even crazier, we pay for all of our agents, leads, systems, and chargebacks. And we started our agency with no startup capital, no debt, no experience, and we're profitable from day one. So how is this possible? That is what we're here to be able to share with you today. See, the reason most agents are failing or not making the money they desire right now is because they think like an employee. In this presentation, we're going to teach you guys how to instead think like a business owner using just one principle, the core four. And with real data from our more than 5,000 clients, show you how to be able to use it. See, with the core four, you can beat 99% of life insurance agents, have an abundant amount of cash at the end of each and every month, and get out of what we call the insurance hamster wheel, where you buy leads, dial all day, sell a few policies, get chargebacks, and buy more leads, just to check your bank account and find out it's literally empty, resulting in you being stuck asking yourself, I just worked really hard and made so many sales, so where's my money? Then you do the exact same thing all over again, expecting a different result, which is literally the definition of insanity. So let's escape this hamster wheel together. First, we need to understand what is the core four. The core four is essentially a series of key performance indicators that allow us to determine whether or not our business will be profitable. The core four are, we use an acronym CAMP, closing rate, average premium, mix of business, and placement and persistency. Each one of these areas determine individually and collectively whether or not you and your business are making money or losing money. So let's look at how we can optimize them individually.
Cool. We're going to talk about closing rate. I feel like this is one of my strengths here when it comes to sales. The first most important metric in any business is our closing rate. The reason is it allows us to ensure that we're making sales and driving revenue. So you might ask, what should your closing rate be? There are two main variables that we track that we focus on when it comes to your closing rate. Number one is your contact to presentation rate, and secondly is your presentation to close rate. the first that we're going to talk about here is your contact to presentation rate. What is a good contact to presentation rate? Anybody?
All right, so you're talking about you contacted a prospect and you are
Yeah, I call you, you pick up 40%. Absolutely. We're going to dive into that. Oftentimes, we just buy a batch of leads, a few people answer the phone, and unfortunately, we don't make a sale. And then we say, the leads suck. It's a leads problem. But in reality, we suck because we got 5 pickups and no presentations. This is why, as you mentioned here, the ideal contact to presentation rate should be 40%. I'm going to add something. If you guys are talking about your leads, you want to make sure whatever lead you're using, you want to make sure that you're still maintaining the 40% contact rate, which means if you get 10 people on the phone, you need to be able to present a quote to 4 or more people. So 40%, whatever your lead flow, you're doing a great job. Okay, because without presentations, we'll never make sales. If your contact to presentation rate is too low, that means that you're having an intro objection handling problem, or you're letting people off the phone too easily. So here's what we do to fix that. If you're buying leads, people are hanging up on you, spending money, why can't I get presentations? Well, this is going to fix that. We focus on our physical presence. So I teach all my agents when you're speaking, you have to have your physical presence involved. We talk about changing our tonality as an actor. This is one of the core features that we focus on. By smiling and sitting up in your posture, even over the phone. We all know when someone wakes up out of bed and on the phone, right? Well, these clients can hear that as well. So the goal in the first 30 seconds with your posture is to lower the prospect's guard. Now, allowing you to have higher chances of getting to the first 30 seconds. Because if you're not getting to the first 30 seconds, you're not going to get presentations. It's not going to be good. So now here's how you can present yourself in the first 30 seconds. It's really crucial how you do it. So let's say you're looking to make a reservation at a restaurant, okay? You Google their number and you give them a call, but the hostess who answers sounds tired, annoyed, or even rude. Would you still want to go eat at that restaurant? Probably not. But they could have been the best, they could have the best food in Austin, but you still wouldn't want to go there, right? All from that 30-second interaction. Secondly, if your contact to presentation rate is too low, you need to learn how to overcome objections, intro objections. Probably the most common point that new agents that work with us struggle with is getting to the first 30 seconds because they can't get through those objections. Now, here's how we do it. When a client tells you, Peter, I'm busy right now, can you call me later? Okay. All of us are probably like, yeah, absolutely. What time works? We know what follow expense, setting appointments don't work, and listening to clients don't work either. So we always want to go ahead, and what we do is all you do is you acknowledge that objection and overcome that by asking a follow-up question. I totally understand, Miss Betty, you're busy. I got to run here as well. It shows here that you listed your daughter as the beneficiary. Is that right? So the result is you start overcoming all the objections and you start getting more presentations, resulting in what? Hopefully more sales, all because you got through that. Now, here's some numbers that we track. If you guys are running ads, any type of sales, you need to track this. This is what we track with all of our agents every single day when they're getting started. Number 1 is presentations. Number 1, how many scheduled appointments do you have? If our agents are calling people and they're setting too many scheduled appointments, we know that they're not pushing through the intro objections. Secondly is contacts. And we also track apps, sales, bad numbers, and dials. So if you're not tracking your numbers, that's the slide that we use to track our numbers. But what do you do if you have a closing problem? Recognize that the problem, if you're not making sales, it's because you have a poor discovery or a poor tonality, okay? I like to tell all my agents, the reason you're not making sales is because you're not asking good questions. If you're getting objections, you're not asking enough, you're not getting enough pain, okay? So let's talk about the discovery section. People buy insurance because they're trying to avoid some type of pain, okay? So how do you do that, okay? So I want to share with you guys the script the script framework that has allowed our agents this month. We're going to do over $550,000 in premium. I'm going to give you guys kind of the framework of what we use so that you can take it with you. I promise you it works. You have to ask questions. There's a question-based framework that gets your clients to open up about their problems. The goal is to get your prospects to sell you on why they need to buy life insurance from you, not you tell them why they need to buy life insurance. So here's our script in a nutshell. We break it down in 4 ways. Number 1, in all of our script, the first thing that we identify is why are they looking for life insurance? The clients have to tell you why they're looking. What is the goal? Secondly, who will be the one that's stuck with the bill? Okay, I'll talk about the pain, but we're always going to figure out who is the one that's stuck with the bill. Third is, would they be in a position, Miss Betty, to pay for those expenses? What would that look like? And then lastly is that you have to tie your closing. So a $10,000 option, a $15,000 option, you have to pitch based off the pain. You have to present numbers that solve problems because that's why people buy, okay? So first thing is find the goal. Identify why you're looking for life insurance. The way that we ask that is, Miss Betty, what is the goal of the life insurance? What do you want to make sure gets taken care of? How many times does we try to sell life insurance when they're looking for term insurance and all we have is final expense products? I don't care how good you are, your closing rate will not be great if you're selling the wrong product because you're not following what their goal is. So number one, admit to what they're trying to solve. Secondly, is you have to put the target on someone's back. Who would be stuck with the bill? Okay, Miss Betty, you don't have the coverage. Who would it be that would be, I guess, burdened with this huge financial expense? You need to get the pain. You need the wife, you need the husband, you need the daughter, you need the sister. If you don't got that, you ain't gonna make the sale. Okay, people don't buy life insurance because they just want to get it. They have to have some type of pain. And then third thing we do is that we have to paint the picture. This is where I think the sales actually made is, would they be in a position to, I guess, pay for those expenses? And what are the clients going to say? Probably not. So our goal is to help the client realize what the pain is. Our goal is to change behavior. What does it look like now for you, Miss Betty? And also, what does it look like when you're gone? Well, my daughter, she doesn't have the money. Okay, gotcha. So it sounds like to me, as a mom, if you die, your daughter's going to have to go X, she has to start GoFundMe, has to raise money, knock on doors, all because we ask deeper questions. Now, how we ask deeper questions, here are some of the two most powerful questions that you guys should put in your script that help us have the client want to sell themselves. Number one, how would that make you feel knowing that your wife would have to go through that? What is she going to say? Terrible, not good, terrible. But the thing is, she told me, not I told her. And then secondly is, walk me through exactly, why is it important to make sure that you have this taken care of? She's going to tell you why she needs your products, right? Well, I want to make sure that I can sleep better at night. Well, Miss Betty, do you feel like this could possibly be like the solution that might help you sleep better at night? I think so. By the end of it, we know that we're going to pitch to solve the problem. For example, she just told you, I want to cover my burial because when I die, my daughter is going to be stuck with my burial expenses. My daughter's going to have to go through all this pain. So what do? When we pitch the 20, the 30, the $15,000 option, we have to make sure that we explain how the 20, 30, whatever option you pick solves the problem. Miss Betty, this $20,000 is going to make sure, like you told me earlier, your daughter's not knocking on doors. She's not raising money. She's not going to have to start a GoFundMe. She's not going to be stuck in that position because this is why we have this life insurance, okay? So the last thing to consider is your tonality, and this is why I can give you guys a script. You message me, I'll give you the script, whatever it works, but ultimately, it doesn't matter if you guys have my script because you still wouldn't have our same results because the words on the script don't matter nearly as much as you actually say the words. Now, for example, I like to tell everyone who's starting to work with us, I'm training tonality. I say, what's your favorite book? Give me your favorite book.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Beautiful. And then Brian, I said, what's your favorite song? Yeah. Piano Man. Okay, if I asked you, can you read, what's your favorite page from that book? What number? What page number? Yeah, you probably wouldn't know, but I said, can you sing Piano Man for me right now? You could probably do it, okay? You could probably do it. But the thing is, they both have 250 to 300 words, your favorite book and your favorite song. But there's a melody, there's a tone, and there's a rhythm. And that's how we sell because you have to engage. You have to open the prospect up, and you have them to feel like they're progressing in the sales call, or they're going to be like, okay, yeah, and they're going to hang up on you. That's a little example out of you. So here's how we use tonality in our script. And first thing is intro. In the intro, you have to lower people's guard. And the way that you do that is you just, well, what do you mean by that when you say you're looking around for some life insurance? I'm curious. I got to open her up because everyone, hello, who's this? If you don't have a curious tone, you can't lower their guard. Second part is the medical underwriting. I'm going to teach you guys something really cool that helps us make a lot of sales here in a little bit. When it comes to the medical underwriting, you have to be a professional. I give this example to everyone. If you tear your ACL, you come into my doctor's office, I'm a knee doctor, and I look at you, I'm like, hey, what's wrong? You said my knee. And you ask me, what's that part on the knee? It feels like it's like shifting. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Let's go Google it, right? Who does that in their medical underwriting? Well, lisinopril, carvedilol, hydrochlorothiazide, you probably have congestive heart failure, right? But there's agents that don't know the medical underwriting. So what happens? Your frame comes down, and ultimately they're not going to trust someone who's not going to be there for them, who doesn't know their stuff. So you have to be a professional when it comes to medical underwriting. Now, third is the discovery. You want to have that curious empathy. You always want to probe. Well, what makes you say that? I understand. Oh my gosh, you lost your mom. Well, how has that made an impact on you? So you have to open up with your curious tonality. If you respond, sorry if I'm going too fast. I have ADD too. If you respond with, the same tonality in the beginning, in the discovery, they're not going to be engaged. But the goal is to lean in and ask questions to get them to want to open up. And the last way is through the professional empathy when you're in the close. Again, you're tying it all back. Miss Betty, this is going to be the most affordable option for you. It's going to be the best option for you statewide. It's going to make sure that when you die, your daughter, who you say you love, right, is going to be there for you to make sure that they're taken care of, there's no burdens, and ultimately, this policy is going to make sure she's taken care of, okay? So your tonality is one of the most important parts in your process, okay? Listen to your goals, review your calls, listen to how you sound is so important. Now, last step is taking your sale. Okay, last thing I want to share with you guys is how to take a sale and turn it into another sale, resulting in a lower acquisition cost. Who wants to sell a client and then sell another client with a cool way? I'll teach you that. Well, remember how I told you I'm going to help you guys pay for your flights? Here's one way, and here's the one way that you can get 3 to 5 free new leads. Who likes free leads? Everyone? Cool. Here's how you can simply do it without changing anything after you leave. Okay, first way is start asking for referrals in the application. Okay, so let me teach you how to do that. We all write policies. We have to get beneficiary, right? Okay, so you ask the primary, you have to have the primary, you ask for the primary beneficiary. So who do you want to put down as your primary beneficiary? What would you tell me?
My wife.
Okay, your wife. Great. Then I'm going to ask, what's your wife's name? Emily. Okay, and what's your wife's birthday? Okay, beautiful.
Kid,
Let's say I know
she'll make it home.
but so right then and there, I got her date of birth. So I know she's probably 50. I don't know, 40, 50. I know that I have a product for her probably. I don't know. I can't do math. So when you're speaking to Miss Betty, you know her uncle or her husband is probably the same demographic, same age, right? So that's what we're getting. We're getting the name, birthday. We're also getting the phone number. Make sure every beneficiary you get the phone number because you need that. And then you're going to ask this special question. Write this question down. It's going to make you more money. Number one, it's, well, Miss Betty, they make me check this box on this application. Does your wife, Emily, does she happen to have like one of those life insurance policies? They make me check a box. Does she have one? Okay, she's a bunch. So in this case, I would know that she's probably not a good client. But most people don't have life insurance. So when I make up this fake question, they don't know what the application looks like. Oh, no, he doesn't. Then by the end of the call, guess what? I have his cell phone number, I have his date of birth, and now I know he's a qualified buyer, all for free. Now, if you don't, you have a phone number. So you have a phone number, date of birth, all that, and you know they don't have life insurance. Lastly, you always get the contingent beneficiary. I used to just skip through contingent, don't matter, right? Don't matter. Number one, helps with retention, so more information the better. Micah will talk about that. But secondly, contingent is like when I say like referral beneficiaries. I want to get as many contingents that are above 50, so tell me who they want. Well, are you sure? Like, what happens if something happens to your husband, Jimmy? Who's like his brother? Give me his brother's name. And I get his cell phone number, I get his date of birth, and then boom, I got a referral. So turn everyone into a referral is the lesson that I teach everyone. Huge mistake that I made when I sold $87,000 of premium. I never asked for one referral, and I wish I saw this slide, so that's why I want to give it to you guys. Now, did you know that you can increase your profitability by making 3 simple changes? This is going to blow your mind, so Micah got some crazy data. Take it away.
Sweet. We'll go through average premium. That's the A in camp. Oops. Go backwards. When we first started our agency, we didn't understand the importance of maintaining a high average premium. And our first 6 months in the business, our average premium was only $802, which if one of yours is, that's bad. All because we believed that this was all that was possible, which resulted in less upfront cash collected, more customer service work, and overarchingly, more problems. Because mo money, mo problems is not always true. The godfather of marketing, Dan Kennedy, said this: whoever can spend the most to acquire a client wins. And the best way to be able to spend more to acquire a customer is to be able to raise your prices. So I'm going to show you guys 3 ways to be able to increase your average premiums immediately. Step 1, change your mindset. Did you guys know that the average cost of a funeral right now is between $8,000 and $12,000? Many of you probably did. But did you know that with inflation, the cost will be more than double in the next 20 years? Let's do some math. Since 1913, the annual inflation rate has been 3.43%. So in 2050, the average burial cost will be between $30,900 and $38,400. And the average cremation will cost over $9,000. So if you provided a $15,000 policy to cover a burial for a 55-year-old woman, she's wildly underinsured. And if you provide anything less than $25,000 in coverage for a burial for someone who's 60 to 70, they are too. And the worst part, this is something that many of us are guilty of. As agents, we often accidentally underinsure our clients and are not helping them be able to reach their goals. So how do we fix this? Step 2, change your pitch to adjust expectations. At the end of the day, your clients trust you as the expert to guide them to the right policy. So we need to talk about in our pitch what's going to happen in the future. And we need to talk about inflation. Because yes, $10,000 will cover a burial today. And $5,000 will cover a cremation today. But $5,000 to $10,000 will not cover it 10 to 15 years from now. And that is what we are trying to protect families from. Not just today, but also tomorrow. So we need to adjust our clients' expectations, both in our discovery and in our close. So how can we do this in our discovery? When a client states that they are looking to cover a burial, we train our agents always to ask them this question. Do you know how much a burial or cremation costs in the state? Then, right or wrong, we give them the answer. Well, close, Miss Betty. A burial is usually anywhere between $8,000 and $12,000, but that's going to be if you die today. I mean, you're not going to die today. At least let's hope not. But now, these numbers aren't really adjusting for inflation. So what I recommend to my clients and what I suggest to you is whatever the price of burials or cremations are today, you just double it for when that day comes to be able to adjust for that inflation. Does that make sense? So what we're going to be looking at is anywhere between $20,000 and $25,000 in order to really just make sure that all of those burial expenses are not just covered today, but also into the future. Now, were you looking to just cover those burial expenses, or were you hoping to be able to leave something extra behind your family as well? So what did we do? We identified where costs are today in case we need to downsell, and then told them as the expert what coverage we need to look at. Here's what we also did. In our 3-option close, we always bring up inflation again. For example, if my client was looking to cover a burial and leave extra and is 60 years old, I would say, okay, Miss Betty, now the first option is our starter program for those who are really on a fixed income and just want to make sure that that burial expenses are going to be taken care of today. Now, this really won't adjust for inflation down the line, but at the very minimum, it will ensure that you can go to bed knowing that if God forbid something happens to you tomorrow, your family can cover the burial expenses. Now, for the second option, now, Miss Betty, the second option here is for $25,000. This is the program that most of our clients typically go with. What it will do is ensure that all of those burial expenses are covered now and into the future, adjusting for inflation, and maybe even leave a little extra behind for your daughter as well. So essentially, we change our pitch to adjust expectations. Step 3, pitch higher. Oftentimes, many of us are scared to increase the premium in our pitch when it provides 2 significant benefits. Number 1, it allows us to show the client options that will actually help them. But number 2, it allows us to have a litmus test on the quality of our client. So what do we mean by litmus test? Did you know that the premium amount that you sell has a strong correlation to client retention? Here's what we have found in our agency for each of our monthly premium levels. And the results are astonishing. Under $45 a month, you guys only have a 36% chance of the client actually placing and being able to retain them. Between $46 and $65 a month, we have a 73% chance. Between $66 and $80 a month, 77%. Between 81 and 100, 85.6%. 101 and 120, 84.2%. Watch, it gets crazy as we get higher. 121 through 199, 79%. And if we go over 200, even more interesting, 72% chance. So we're actually in just as bad a spot as if we sold a $46 policy if we go over 200 as well. So essentially what we found is that if you are selling a policy under $45 per month, you have a 137% higher likelihood of the policy lapsing in comparison to selling the same policy for $81. So what do you think we train our agents on? to sell policies between 81 and 120. Crazy, right? So why are agents often afraid to pitch higher premiums? Because we are pitching with our own wallet in mind, or based upon what we consider expensive, based upon their income level, instead of actually pitching to solve their problem. So here's what we do. With option 1, we pitch what's going to solve their problem today and try to optimize for around $65 a month. With option 2, we pitch what will solve their problem no matter when they pass away and try to optimize for about $85. And option 3, we pitch them the max offer, which is almost always over $100. And here's what we found. Over 60% of our clients choose the middle option, and 10% of our clients choose the max offer. And the rest, we can downsell if necessary. It's risk-free. We decide the options, but our clients decide what they can afford. Let me ask you guys a question. If I offered you a Ferrari for $10,000, would you figure out how to be able to come up with that money? Even if you didn't have it, would you do whatever it takes in order to find that 10 grand? Of course. So then it's not about the price. It's about the value that we create. And this value is created in the discovery and the close. Now, what if the product that you sold could also make you more money?
So we're gonna talk about the mix of business here for our third option here. What is your mix of business? So Mike is going to talk about some other numbers here in a second, but what is mix of business? Everyone think digital is rolling out something that I think we need, which is incredible. It's the mix of business tracker. So what is mix of business? What does that mean? It's the percentage of simplified issue policies versus the guaranteed issue or graded or modified policies. So like what do we optimize for? What we try to shoot for, what we track, we incentivize our agents to hit is an 80 to 20 split. So you always want to be at an 80 to 20. If you find yourself a little bit lower than 80-20, then we're going to talk about what you can do here. And the more simplified issue business, obviously the better, but why is it better? Because you can receive more upfront cash. We all know that our compensation is higher on level coverage compared to like a graded or guaranteed issue. So we need to ensure that we are always selling as much day one coverage as possible, because if not, because it's not only beneficial for the client, but it's also beneficial for our profitability. So how do we do that? Number one is our underwriting section. We take a lot of pride and care of our underwriting section because we want our agents to become a medical expert. Here's my underwriting script. It's simple: smoker, heart attack, strokes, cancers, diabetes, anxiety, depression. Be thorough there. Get as much as you can. The more information, the better. And here's what we do. So we go through the medical section actually in the first 2 minutes of the call is what we do. So we ask, because we're trying to create immediate value in the first 2 minutes of the call. For example, Miss Betty tells you, hey, you should, she tells you she has a policy. She has diabetes, but her current policy has a 2-year waiting period. Okay, so what is the value here? How would you be able to sell Miss Betty? And the value is that we find her a policy with no 2-year waiting period. Okay, so what this means and what the cool thing is that if I suck at selling life insurance, but I somehow know how to underwrite, I can still smash it and make some sales, all because I just asked underwriting questions.
That's how I did it.
Ms. Betty, example number 2 is Ms. Betty tells you that she has COPD, congestive heart failure, and she says, well, Peter, I keep on getting declined. Can you help me out? Again, it doesn't matter how good I am. If I can just buy Ms. Betty a policy that she can get approved for, my sales skill doesn't matter, because I found out in the first 2 minutes by understanding what the value is of the call. This is exactly why we start in the first 2 minutes of the script, because our goal is to find the best product that creates the most value, as Micah talked about, to our prospects, so we can actually tailor our discovery section based upon what they qualify for. This is why products actually matter. Being a broker allows us to find the best products based on medical conditions. Let's play a fun game, okay? Who are you more likely to buy from? So let's pretend and say that you are 7 years old, you make $975 per month, you have diabetes, and you love Newport cigarettes. You smoke the cigarettes. Okay, cool. Agent 1 is a captain agent. They show up to your house. They get you to buy a $20,000 whole life policy with a waiting period for $99 per month. But then 2 weeks later, y'all fill out Jeff's lead card and digital BGA calls, okay? This agent has the ability to match carriers with health conditions because they can sell multiple products For example, we use Sika for smoker rates, American Amicable, great product for smoker. Second, we use diabetic carriers like Rural Neighbors, Sika, Transamerica. Neuropathy carriers, we use Sika, Transamerica. For dialysis day one, we go Sika. Healthy carriers, SBLI, Mutual of Omaha, great carriers. And then COPD carriers are SBLI and Rural Neighbors. That's our mix right there. Agent 2 comes, the digital BG agent calls, and they can get you that policy for $20,000 of whole life coverage with no 2-year waiting period for $85 per month. Which one would you pick? Obviously, the $20,000 policy with no 2-year waiting period and for $85 per month, okay? This is why you have to pair your products with specific health conditions. You can sell more business, you can increase your upfront cash, and you can increase your placement and persistency.
What is placement and persistency? The definition of placement rate is the number of policies where the client makes their first payment in comparison to the number of policies where they don't. On the other hand, persistency is the number of clients who continue their policy each and every year. So why are they important? Let's say you worked really hard last month. You made 300 dials every single day. You worked 12-hour days and even worked the weekends. This resulted in you selling $87,362 in premium like Peter did one month. You see your sales on the leaderboard and get the recognition, the attention, the shout outs, and feel like you are on top of the world. But 50% of them don't make that first payment. And 50% of those that do don't make it past their first 6 months. Now, it looks like you're making all of this money on paper, but in reality, your business is crumbling because you spent thousands of dollars on leads each week and will have next to nothing to show for it, despite all of your hard work. So how do we ensure high placement and persistency? There are 2 key ways. Number 1, we need to change how you get your customers, our sales process. And number 2, we need to change how we keep our customers, our customer service process. Step 1, ensure affordability. Oftentimes we sell policies just to be able to make the sale or sell policies. But in reality, our job is to solve true problems and ensure that we are putting our clients in a policy that they can keep. So how do we ensure our clients can afford their policy, not just today, but also for the rest of their lives? Here's what we do. We confirm the price before ever moving into the application. For example, if the client picks the $20,000 option in the close, we say, okay, and do you think that that $20,000 option for $85 a month, is that going to be nice and comfortable and affordable for you every single month? But we even take it one step further. After writing the application, but before we click submit, this is what we also include. So the last step here is I just have to click the submit button, and then we'll have that final approval for you. Now, before I click submit, I need you to promise me 2 things here, okay? Number 1, I want you to promise that you'll make sure that that $85 a month will be in there on the 1st so that this policy with SVLI will go in place so that if God forbid something happens to you the very next day, your daughter will be taken care of. And secondly, I want you to promise that you will ensure that every month you have that $85 in your account, no matter what. Because if not, this application is absolutely worthless. And I can't bring your daughter a check for that $20,000 if something happens to you. Now, Miss Betty, this is the most important thing we can do all day. Can you make those promises to both me and to your daughter here? This is powerful. Guys, it forces the clients to think about the future, forces the client to commit long-term, shows that you care, and you are less likely to lose the sale at the very end unless they can't afford it or don't really want it. We are not just here to see if they can get approved. We are here to help our clients purchase a policy that will protect their family from financial burden. So we need to ensure affordability. Step 2, reinforce their decision. How many of you guys have had a client who canceled their policy almost immediately after buying it? Sure, most of us. Often, though, this is because we never reinforced our client's buying decision. In our agency, we do this with a sale wrap-up by first reviewing the coverage that they were just approved for and then having them make us 2 additional promises. Here's what we say after every sale. Couple more things here, Miss Betty. I make this promise to every single one of my clients, and I'm going to make it to you as well. I promise to literally be your advisor for life, okay? Until death do us part. But I don't just promise to ensure that we get you applied and approved for the coverage that you need. I also promise to ensure that when that day comes, I'm going to make it... Oh, hold up. There we go. Ensure that I'll make sure that that policy gets paid out to your daughter here because you provided it for them. Now, all I ask you to do in return for me is that you just promise me 2 things here. Number 1, if life happens, because life does happen, and for whatever reason you're going to miss a payment or you won't be able to make a payment, you call me. Because as your agent, as your advisor, I can make sure this policy won't cancel or lapse because ultimately, that's not going to do anyone any good, especially not your daughter. And number 2, it's going to happen in coming years. You're going to have those life insurance agents, burial insurance agents. They're going to cold call you, come knock on your door, tell you they've got the best policy since sliced bread. Now, all I ask that you do as your advisor here is that you take down their information and you call me. Because I can guarantee you one of 2 things. Either number 1, it's not the policy that they're saying that it is, and I'm a pretty no-nonsense kind of guy. I'll tell you what's in their policy, even if they won't. Or number 2, it's a company I already work with, and we've got you in the best position here with SBLI. Now, can you make me those 2 commitments? These 2 promises have saved our agency more money than anything else because they allow us to overcome the top 2 reasons that people cancel. Number 1, that they no longer think they can afford it and have no hope, no way to be able to keep their policy when instead we can oftentimes rewrite them and downsell them a lower premium policy. And number 2, that they found a better policy. Believe it or not, our customer care team gets calls every single day from clients who just spoke to an agent that was trying to sell them another policy. And now we get the opportunity to keep them. So, how powerful is your wrap-up? Does it draw your client in and force them to make a commitment? Or is it a simple feel-good statement that we rush through at the end? This clicker goes fast. Step 3, start policies immediately. Here's the real statistic. In our agency, if we have a client start a policy immediately, they have a 94.6% chance of placing, regardless of premium level. If we have a client start a policy in the next 3 days, that number now goes down to 93%. As you can imagine, these numbers really just get worse from here. If we put the policy out just 2 weeks, we are now down to a 73% chance of placing. And finally, if we push out a policy 30 days, we're down to only 58%. So essentially, with just one decision in the application, we go from 94.6% chance of placing to almost half of our clients never making their first payment. So, bottom line, start as many policies as you can immediately by simply just assuming they'll start immediately. When you get to the banking information in the application, this is all we say. Okay, and like most of our clients, you want this policy to start in the next 24 to 48 hours, right? This one simple statement has allowed our agency to start more than 36% of our policies immediately. You guys see, we can't assume that the client will want to push it out. And oftentimes in final expense, that's exactly what we do. We hear it over and over again. Oh, we got to wait till the 1st. Oh, we got to wait till the 3rd. Oh, I'm on Social Security. I can't get it until the 3rd Wednesday. But we should always assume instead an immediate start and then wait for the objection. Because if they say no, it's okay to figure out why. You guys, we need to think logically about these. If they say something came up, guys, what if something comes up next month or 6 months from now? It's been a really hard month. Well, what happens if they have a hard month next month? I spent it already. If they already spent it, if they already spent all of their money this month without this bill, how on earth are they going to be able to afford a new bill next month? Now let's talk about an additional step that can increase placement that might not be immediately obvious. Step 4, ask for referrals. By providing referrals, clients reinforce their own decision. When they recommend us to someone else, they're effectively validating their choice to work with us. This helps reduce doubts or second thoughts that might arise. In psychology, this is known as the principle of consistency. See, people like to act in ways that are consistent with their previous behavior. By referring others, clients are reinforcing their commitment to our organization, but also to their policy, which leads to a higher likelihood of policy placement. So, how do we ask for referrals? Well, in your wrap-up, just include this statement. Now, the last question I always ask my clients is, now that you're a part of my family, are there any of your friends or family members that I'd be able to help in the same way that I've helped you today? You can't be afraid of asking for referrals. Once you've sold the client, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. 2, change how you keep your customers. Step 1, send handwritten cards. Every single one of our clients receives a handwritten card, including their policy information and agent information. This allows us to build better connections with our clients and distinguish our agency from every other. Step 2, ensure your clients get their policy. One of the most common reasons clients cancel is simply because they never received it. I don't know how often you guys hear about that, but it's ridiculous. Aetna, Sika, I'm just saying. Throwing this out here. I mean, I could throw a whole bunch of people under the bus here. The amount of policies we send weekly is nuts. At our agency, we send a text after 30 days asking our clients if they received it. This creates not only an opportunity to review any questions or concerns they have about the policy, but also allows us to mail one out to them if necessary. So at the end of the day, they don't feel like they got scammed because you guys are just a voice on the phone. For all they know, you guys took their accounting information and took off with it. So if they don't receive the policy in the mail, it doesn't make it real. Step 3, we follow up. Based upon our data, 72% of our clients who cancel do so in the first 3 months of their effective date. So what do? In just the first 30 days alone, our clients get 8 text messages, 2 emails, and a follow-up call from customer care. They receive an additional 5 texts and 2 emails over the next 2 months, and then receive texts and emails just checking in on them every month for the rest of their lives. We want to be our client's agent for life, and in order to ensure that we can do that, we have to build a long-term relationship. And these follow-ups also create upsell and referral opportunities for our customer care team as well. Bottom line, don't stop communication just because you made the sale. The relationship with your client is not over until that beneficiary gets their check. Now, we've reviewed a lot in this presentation. We went through closing rate and how you can sell more policies and improve your sales skill, average premium, and how you can use it to increase your quality of a client and the amount of money you make per sale, mix of business and how you can use it to be more profitable and provide better products to your clients, placement and persistency, and how you can use it to keep your clients longer. See, all of these are wildly important, but the reality is there's one thing in our agency that is more important than any of these core 4. And it's the one thing that has allowed us to grow at such an astronomical rate. It's our core values. Unimpeachable character. We believe in doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Utter sincerity. We believe that to be successful in this business, above all else, you need to passionately care about the clients you are serving, the agents around you, and the company that you are with. Competitive excellence. We believe that you must compete against yourself daily to be the best individual you can be in all aspects of life. That includes health, diet, relationships, sleep, exercise, because ultimately every one of these aspects will determine how you perform in this career. You see, this business is so much more than sales chips and metrics. At the end of the day, it's about serving others to the best of your ability with integrity, care, and no matter what happens, never giving